there's Kevin Box making his second career start in Westwood, pitched a clean sheet in his inaugural debut.
Not a bad way to start for Box, and both teams not quite happy with the pillar of their defenses. They're looking to make changes. Even at this point in the season, both teams know they haven't unlocked their true potential.
We are underway here at Wallace Annenberg Stadium. Penn State and UCLA under the lights here in Westwood. The first trip for Penn State to the state of California since 2017. First time that they have faced the Bruins here in Los Angeles, as that's a long ball and quickly scooped up by Kevin Box. So, Graham, we take a look at this UCLA team, much better here at home. They've yet to lose a game here at home. How much will that impact the way that they come out tonight?
It's huge that they've got that 12th man, so to speak, here at Wally. And road trips are not just going up the state now. In the new Big Ten, you've got to go all the way across the country like the Bruins have. And Penn State hasn't come this far west this season, so for the Bruins, nice to be back in the friendly confines of the Wally, and for Penn State, something new they haven't experienced this season.
Yeah, kind of a weird schedule that Penn State has had, as that back heel intended for Nash, and there's Nixon, who we highlighted with the box out, but he touched it last, so Nash does a good job to generate a corner kick. The Nittany Lions had faced Robert Morris, then they took on Michigan State, collecting arguably their biggest win on the road this season. Then they face a Division III Kings College team, and how they go back on the road to take on UCLA, as that in-swinger is headed towards the back post. Still up in the box, and it's going to UCLA. So a bit of a weird scheduling situation for Penn State. A one-game road trip out west. Will be fascinating to see what their energy level is like.
It's got to be tough, just the difference in opposition for Penn State. Really interested to see how they get adapted back to the Big Ten style of soccer, and UCLA is no nonsense, as we said to start. So sturdy at the back. Penn State's got to be on their A game offensively. Some
changes along the back line for UCLA, at least in the last couple of games. Trey Wright has slid into the center back position, replacing Drew Brown as he fires one up ahead to Marty Carrena with an excellent first touch. The freshman and the Spaniard has been tremendous. Drives one across, a great first touch for Solans Ormo, and he just misfired. Had it deflected, I believe, off a Nittany Lion. And boy, we didn't even have a second to breathe, and Sergi Solans Ormo nearly collected the breakthrough in the first couple minutes.
This is bread and butter for the Bruins. Get space down the wings, get bodies in the box. You see the white shirts of the Bruins almost outnumbering the Nittany Lions by the time that ball gets in the box. Solans Ormo will not miss many more chances like that.
First corner kick served in. Throw in for UCLA. They want to get off on the front foot. They felt like against Maryland in the first half, the first 10-15 minutes, they were kind of on their back foot.
We've seen throughout this season, it takes time for the Bruins offense to really get in that flow state. Encouraging sign that already they've got a shot on goal.
Solans Ormo, the leader in the goals department for UCLA. 3 goals for an offense that has struggled to produce points. It certainly hasn't been for a lack of trying. We've seen in so many games that they have gotten up shots, especially against Ohio State. They outshot the Buckeyes 19-5 in that contest, yet somehow ended up with an L in a game that they were up a man for much of the contest. So they feel like their record should be better as Schneider Mimi flies one forward. He's a kind of recent starter over the last 3 games, making his 3rd straight start. He popped against Indiana in the second half, and since then Ryan Jordan has left him out there.
The talent is undeniable for UCLA, and coach like Ryan Jordan is not going to be happy with imperfection. Even if it ends in a good result for the Bruins, if there's things to change, he's going to change them. And Schneider Mimi is a great show of the talent that UCLA has in their reserves. They can make a change at any time and completely flip the game style.
5th-year guy, Schneider Mimi, as Solans Ormo tried to bring it down. That's booted away by Sheridan. Really talented 6'6" freshman. He's got so much potential along this back line for Penn State. A defense that is conceding just about 1.3 goals per game, one of the better marks in the Big Ten Conference, and they've already generated now their second corner kick. And with that height, you can see him, number 5, entering into the box. Bruins will have to make sure that he gets marked. Surprisingly, the corner kicks have been an area of an advantage for UCLA, normally taking a lot more than their opponents, but a couple early attempts for Penn State. One of their co-captains, Matthew Henderson, left footer with the in-swinger. Good touch by Freddie Bell. There's the freshman Zach Mastrodimos, able to dig it out and poke it up for Philip Naif. Talked about that stingy defense, as that is going to be the first whistle against Penn State and Freddie Bell.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
He's fantastic at applying pressure up the field, putting the defenses under duress, but you let them go when you commit a foul like that. The pressure is great, but a little more careful with the physicality.
Trying to connect vertically on that pass. Good touch by Naif. Just a speedster, such a dynamic player, always dangerous out in space. That's turned around by Marty Carrena. Acres of grass out in front of him. Grabfelder trying to catch up, and a little bit of a lazy pass there trying to hit Mimi Schneider. Knocked away by Penn State.
That's the type of pass that will drive a coach crazy. No movement, just passing to someone 5 feet right next to you is not going to generate any openings in the defense.
Coach Jordan always imploring his teams to solve the defensive Rubik's Cubes, making decisive plays, finding those pockets, not playing hesitant, especially in the final third. So the question's going to be, when those windows open up, can they exploit it? And that's the same exact question that the coaches are looking for here tonight. Bruins retained possession. Trey Wright. Schneider Mimi trying to set up the give and go. Marty Carrena flicks it to him. Mimi is able to swing it in, and it's headed in by who else? The King of España here in Los Angeles, Sergi Solans Ormo, gives the UCLA Bruins the early lead. Schneider Mimi put it on a silver platter, and he set up his sophomore Spaniard for his 4th goal of this season, and a beautiful header in the 15th minute.
Fantastic creativity in a tight spot from Marty Carrena to flick it up for Mimi. Perfectly floated right onto the striker's head. Sergi's not going to miss from there. El Rey, the poacher, whatever you call him, he scores again.
Solans Ormo, understandably elated. It's been a while since he has scored a goal, it feels like. Last time he scored was against Wisconsin in their 3-1 victory here at home. But Coach Jordan feels like the guy should have about 10 goals this season, but he's got 4, and he gives the Bruins an early lead. And we talked about Schneider Mimi being one of the adjustments along the back line for Coach Jordan. Fruitful right away.
And fantastic recognition by Mimi and Marty Carrena on this left sideline. Just a couple minutes after they were dispossessed, they didn't have anything going. They get the 1-2 game going right again. Keep on attacking where the Nittany Lions are weak.
And another good build-up here. Mastrodimos, Philip Naif with an inside-out step over, trying to get to the byline. He does, flicks it in into the glove of Jonathan Evans. It was ruled out of play by an inch regardless, but again, just decisive, explosive moves and combinations from this UCLA top line.
Philip Naif has a certain anything you can do, I can do better type of energy about him. When he sees some exciting offensive activity going on either side, he's eager to get the ball and show what he has, and that step over to the sprint down the line is so tough to defend.
And he's kind of been an afterthought for this UCLA team because he's such an indispensable player, but everyone gets fixated on the new toys that they have in the garage, and yet year in and year out, now in his third season, he's been really invaluable to this group.
And Jonah, it looks like we have a very special guest in the crowd arriving right now. Is LA Galaxy and Spanish midfielder Ricky Puig pulling up to catch a little Big Ten soccer.
Is that why you mentioned Puig when, as that's actually dangerous from Dion? That thought we'll have to wait as after Solans Ormo had scored. I think you had mentioned Puig potentially as Carrena trying to carry it forward. And good hold-up play to find Mastrodimos. Again, Penn State, certainly no stranger to deficits. They trailed Michigan State 1-0 in the first half in East Lansing. They did find the equalizer quickly thereafter. But unlike that matchup, they haven't really generated many quality looks so far. And on high alert now, with this magical boot of Solans Ormo, he nearly tripped himself. Christian Dion. There's Grabfelder. Ran into the offensive destroyer, as they call Tarun Karamanchi here in Westwood. Now Nixon on the switch. And a great lead pass up ahead for Naif. Gallivanting to the middle. He's got Solans Ormo again. Touch to Marty Carrena.
Good job by Solans Ormo. The first touch was not good, but he did well to keep possession.
Shakir Nixon, also a facilitator, tends to fly up the channels even from his right back spot. Same with Trey Wright. Kind of similarly to Tommy Silva in years past, as Carrena and Schneider Mimi, they've had good chemistry again. Mimi's able to pluck it out, finds the head of Naif, and booted away by Liscombe. But it stays in play. Pillowed down by Shakir Nixon. Really in an offensive groove right now is UCLA. Henderson trying to keep Naif in front of him. Not a surprise, UCLA dominating possession early. They give it away there to Bell. It's booted by Karamanchi. If you're Penn State right now, 2 shots on goal, but they haven't felt as threatening as the ones for UCLA.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
Of course, the former 3-year college product out of the University of Evansville and the Purple Aces. Obviously, they'd love to be able to find him up top, but how can Penn State kind of create more chances on the offensive end, let alone find an equalizer?
Feels like it's got to be on these wings right now. Just a clump of white jerseys in the middle of the park. Penn State is looking for avenues to get the ball forward, and it feels like the Bruins are cutting off every passing lane. Right now, Nittany Lions need to start making some runs down the sidelines. That's where they were able to get their best chances of the day.
They're trying to work the far sideline. Trying to link up vertically there with Grabfelder. Levy trying to untether himself from Marty Carrena. Loses that battle, and Mimi sends it forward. Morgan Marshall, number 14, along the near side, does have a lot of space to play with, but right now the Bruins have done a good job defensively, making this pretty much a box-to-box game, keeping everything in the middle and not allowing their defense to be spread out.
It's almost daring Penn State to pass it where they want it so they can trap them.
Though, that was the best combination with Phillips. and drives it across with the left foot. It's loose, a little bit of spillage, and finally Box smothers it. Well, that was the best chance for Penn State. It took a little bit of time, and Levy was in with the disruption. A great setup from Kai Phillips, and finally we see a little bit of life from this Penn State offense.
Fantastic job by Box to just make sure he got hands on it.
What a pass from Solans. Ormo. Mastrodimos got a little fancy with it, and it's blown up by Liscombe, able to dislodge it. And this is exactly what Jeff Cook was worried about. On one end, you have a shot. Now transition opportunity. Bruins pushing the pace, flying numbers forward. And Solans, Ormo, and Mastrodimos nearly extended the lead.
Mastrodimos has looked fantastic through this first half hour. Mentioned he's a freshman, he's new to the lineup, getting his legs under him still, but he's got some guts to try those skill moves in front of the last line of defense. He's been making fantastic runs, connecting that midfield to the attack.
Well, I asked Coach Jordan if we should expect to see more of Mastrodimos, and he said absolutely. His work rate is incredible. He kind of compared him to having a bank account. He said, you have good performances, your bank account goes up. You have bad performances, you have withdrawals. Right now, though, that investment has been yielding a great return, as again, just a little bit too heavy on the touch for Philip Naif. And you know a thing or two about investing, right, Graham?
I could learn more from Coach Jordan.
Look at Coach Jeff Cook as the Bruins make a substitution, by the way. Konstantinos Yorgalides is going to come in. But 8th season in Happy Valley for Jeff Cook. Took over in 2018, had that sensational 2023 season, winning the Big Ten Conference. They reached the NCAA tournament in 2021. They've certainly experienced a lot of success with him at the helm, leading the way. Of course, a former head coach of the Philadelphia Union Youth Academy, so he's created that pipeline. A lot of guys coming and matriculating out of that academy now to the college level. Lovely ball up ahead for Sean Sent. Jorgalides creeping into the box, trying to cut it back, has the shot deflected. And can Penn State, with UCLA a little bit stretched out and Kai Phillips, create something? And a giveaway. A little miscue with Medor. And they give it right back.
Penn State did really well to dispossess the Bruins attack there, but it's just not enough numbers. Plenty of white shirts were waiting at the top of the box to corral the undermanned Penn State attack.
Felt a little bit rushed. As Dauda shared into Liscombe, looking to switch. Now Henderson plays a ball vertically. Boy, Phillips has been sprinting from end to end, trying to catch up with anything he can get his cleats on. This is where that ball control can sometimes lull a team to sleep, with their ability to just hold up plays, slow down possession, and then just speed it up in an instant and play with pace. As Karamanchi sends Mimi forward. Morgan Marshall, and there's Mimi deflected off of him, and a goal kick for Penn State.
When we talk about the Bruins being so good at taking the air out of the ball and holding onto possession in their half, a lot of times we mean number 6, Tarun Karamanchi. So solid. He does so much work on the defensive end as well. We've talked about a little bit inexperienced on the back line for the Bruins, especially going back to the goalkeeper. Karamanchi does so much, covers so much space, especially defensively. Always great at holding the ball, turning his body, opening up the pitch, and finding the right pass.
They have found a lot of the right passes here tonight as well. It hasn't taken them any time, it seems like, to solve this Penn State defense. Obviously, 10 minutes to go until the end of the first half. We'll see what kind of adjustments Penn State can make, and they have been a really good second half team. We've seen it all season, and they're also accustomed to playing in tough road environments. They played on the road at Syracuse, won the national championship in 2022, just trying to withstand the storm as Marshall wasn't subtle with that push. Georgalides goes down in the first set piece in a promising spot for UCLA.
Georgalides looking really strong in this left wing position. We saw Schneider Mimi having some nice chemistry with Marty Carrena in that same spot, and number 10 filled right in and is keeping the Nittany Lions concerned. Great run onto the ball. He knows he doesn't have the numbers, so let's just absorb this tackle and set up for a free kick where the Bruins are very, very strong.
First appearance for Georgalides since their home win over Wisconsin. That was the only time that he has started this year. Good service up in the box, and Evans able to keep in front of the goal line, trying to do what he can. The redshirt freshman out of Collegeville, Pennsylvania. Number 4 in the Big Ten in save percentage at a 73.5 clip. But his back line has been under duress and under fire the entire first half. Liscombe, the co-captain.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
Westwood for the Nittany Lions. They've played in California, but never in this stadium, as that is just wizard dribbling from Shakir Nixon. There's Nafe again, blown up beautifully. Henderson able to destroy that offensive possession. Dauda. And the flick from Levy. Flying forward, the newly inserted Ovison. Can they build on some end-of-the-half momentum for Penn State? They've been really good, as we've talked about, in the second half, making adjustments. We saw it against Michigan State.
They've definitely improved as this first half has gone on. They were getting blitzed hard by UCLA's attack to start this game, and they felt a lot more comfortable. They've had a lot more of the ball in the second half of this first half, and they're still just looking for a little bit of spark. They're going to need a little bit of creativity. You're going to need to take on the man in front of you and find some space, because the Bruins' defensive work rate right now is incredible.
I agree. They have looked a lot better. Where to you have you noticed it most?
I think it's been in this middle third right here. They've done a better job of stepping up and applying pressure on UCLA's midfield. We've seen a few times the Bruins try to get something going down that far sideline with Nixon, and they've been able to step in, getting a little more used to what the Bruins want to do on the attack.
Good build-up, Georgalides, Aguilar, Nafe with the chip, and Evans gobbles it up. They're certainly putting a lot of balls in and around the 6 just to give themselves chances. Still just a 1-0 lead for UCLA. 7 shots in the first half. Dauda fired it up ahead to Levy, and again, just a little miscommunication with Phillips, thinking that pass was going down the far channel as opposed to up the middle.
I'd like to see Dauda take his space after he earned it with a great spin.
All Big Ten freshman team selection in Dauda. Three-game winners for Dauda, by the way, 2 of which came against Michigan State, his freshman year and his sophomore year in their last true road match. But he's been somewhat inactive, it feels like, just in terms of the impact that he's capable of having. But again, if Penn State can keep this to a 1-0 game, given how how well UCLA has played in this first half, you'd have to be pretty happy if you're Penn State.
100%. And even with the Bruins' hot start, which we don't usually see from them this season, they should have had more goals at this point. They've had great opportunities. As you said, the service has been there from the wings into the box. And I think the Bruins and Coach Jordan, even if he's happy with the lead, they'll be disappointed they couldn't add to it.
So the first half is complete here in Westwood, and they didn't waste any time. 15 minutes in, and it's the Spaniard and the sophomore, Sergi Solans Ormo, with a beautiful header finish off the assist from Schneider Mimi. And the Bruins certainly look comfortable in the first half. Whistle is blown, and away we go. Bruins in their clean home whites. So important for UCLA to take care of business at home, especially considering they've really struggled on the road. They haven't won a single contest away from Wally.
I think it's important that they win at home, but it's also important that they don't waste such a great first half performance. You said it yourself, Jonah. They haven't been able to get right at the opponent to start the game, and we've seen them have their usual possession dominance. They had 62% of the possession in the first half, but the difference is that possession was much further up the field. Usually they're passing around in front of the goalkeeper, in front of the box. Today it was in the attacking third where they held that pressure.
Yeah, it's a great point that you bring up. They really dominated possession in the final third, got a number of crosses in, whether they were officially registered as a shot or not. A lot of balls in and around the six. If you're Penn State, maybe you apply a little bit more of a high press, try to get UCLA out of their comfort level right now to begin the second half. That's nicely dealt with by Grabfelder. They have to see a little bit more of him. The junior out of Northampton, Pennsylvania. Big Ten player to watch. 2 goals, but 5 assists this year. It's his playmaking that has made him such a dynamic player, top 4 in the Big Ten in that department.
And that stat right there tells me that it won't be long until we see Grabfelder have his impact on this game. They're expecting you to shoot, you pass it. They're expecting you to pass it, he shoots. So I think just give number 11 a bit more time. Give him some more service, certainly, if you're the Nittany Lions.
Boy, Liscombe took his sweet time. Carrena trying to slice it up ahead for Aguilar, who catches up with it. Here's Schneider Mimi, who maybe is kind of the Clark Kent from the first half. He didn't get credit for playing hero, but he was all over the pitch. So much experience, fifth-year player, brings so much stability. Most importantly, Coach Jordan obviously loves the upside that youth can present, but obviously there can be a downside to youth and experience making some mistakes. He's been really stable over along the left side.
Schneider Mimi, he had the experience that you talk about from a vet, but he also brought great energy.
Good long ball collected by Naif off the backside of Henderson. Tarun Karamanchi led him in stride. Early corner kick suffered and surrendered by this Penn State defense. UCLA trying to take advantage. Just 3 in this contest, but another one early on to begin the second half. This is where they've had the advantage against opponents all year. 57 corners taken, 46 for opponents. Amongst all the offensive stats, that's the most glaring one, as an ambitious effort from Karamanchi from distance, deflected off the Nittany Lions, and we'll do it again.
Love that from Karamanchi. It's always going to be tough to get a shot through after a corner kick. There's just so many bodies in the box on your team and on the other team. But too many times we've seen UCLA be too passive around the box. Good to just fire one.
Low service from Sean sent towards the near post. Angled for Roche. And he keeps it here. By the way, Tarun Karamanchi is the only Bruin that has played every single second this season.
He doesn't make many missteps. He cleans up for the defense. He gets the offense going. Does not make many mistakes.
You can call him the Energizer Bunny, the Iron Man, whatever you want. The guy does not come out so reliable and consistent for Coach Jordan. There's a reason he wears the captain's band, has been a part of this program for a long time now, the senior from San Ramon. Just the indispensable player along that UCLA defensive mid position. Obviously plays a lot more than just that. But that's where he has been the most impactful throughout his career.
Most of the time, you see a player that has never come off the pitch or starts every game or plays every minute. It's either a keeper or a center back. The fact that it's Karamanchi in that holding midfielder, that 6th position, he covers more ground than anybody during a game, and yet he never comes out. It's really remarkable.
Nixon sprays it wide to Philip Naif, who had a couple of bursts along the right side in the first half. We haven't even seen some of the super subs enter in for UCLA. Francis Bonsu, the speedster. Artem Vovk has been really impactful off the bench in recent games. Trying to link up with Marty Karena there was Mimi. Obviously, Penn State showing their hand a little bit early, inserting Kai Phillips into the game, a usual starter, brought off the bench in the first half. UCLA has yet to kind of utilize their joker, if you will.
I think one thing that's making such a big difference for this UCLA attack is the willingness to go at their defender, take on these one-on-one duels. It's really opening the pitch, and it's also inspiring the rest of the Bruins. When you see players like Philip Naif hitting a few step-overs again by your man, the Bruins, they all want that for themselves. They all want to be the player to break through, and you're just seeing the competitive level rise right now.
And we talked about UCLA's ability to solve these defenses, how quickly they can solve defenses. Coach Jordan talks about it's identifying that moment that you can break a team's press or block to get actions, and sometimes they are able to identify those spots and to solve that Rubik's Cube quickly, but when they don't, that's where these games can get a little bit away from them as that rolls into the arms of Box. I think Trey Wright thought Box was a little bit closer. Kai Phillips was lingering outside of the box. And this is the area that Coach Jordan loves having Kevin Box out there, so comfortable playing out of the back. Ryan Tiltak, of course, has started 8 games. The true freshman has been really impressive for this UCLA team. A lot of it is a spur of the moment, and that's a nice combination with Aguilar and Naif. Naif drives one through, and it is dealt with by Penn State. And Nixon, kind of a dangerous slide on Grabfelder. No additional infraction, and it's going to stay here.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
Maker against UCLA last year when the Nittany Lions trailed 2-0, scored an absolute banger. That was kind of the turning point in that game. Pulled the Nittany Lions within 1 with 15 minutes to play, and that was also the inflection point of his own career. Talking to Coach Cook yesterday, I asked him about his development, and he pointed out that specific matchup against UCLA where he started to display a bit more consistency as a game wrecker more regularly. And that was something that he always had, but it's that game playing efficiency that he was displaying more consistently post that matchup.
I love that word you used, Jonah, the game wrecker, because if you watch number 11 in Navy for the rest of the second half, he will be in a million different positions.
Nice through ball for Naif. Steering it middle. He's got his man, and a little bit too hot for Marty Karena. Got a little bit ahead of that pass. As Legaspi calling for Box, Kai Phillips on his heel. Finds an outlet in Shakir Nixon.
That was such a great touch into the middle. Naif completely tricked the defense and sometimes feels like he's just too intense on the ball, and he's going so hard that his teammates can't match that when they're trying to control his passes.
Going vertical with Roche. Freddie Bell got pulled down by Marty Carrena. Will this be anything extra? No. We talked about perhaps the anticipated number of yellow cards that we might see, and we haven't seen anything so far.
Bouncing ball is always going to get hairy in the middle of the park, and easy enough for Penn State to fall and relieve a bit of pressure. They need some more moments of going head-to-head on a 50-50 ball, going for a duel. They need to have some of those battles go their way before they can start progressing forward with a little more order.
Yeah, the problem has been they haven't given a lot of those go-to players opportunities to win one-on-one battles. You look at the 3 players that were named to the Big Ten players to watch list at the start of the season. Malik Dauda, obviously we talked about him. Grabfelder and Kai Phillip coming off the bench tonight. They've accounted for 16 points and 5 goals for this Penn State team, but haven't had many openings here against this stingy UCLA defense that, again, their trademark so dangerous in transition. And another build-up here with Nixon. Off the side of his foot, Nave spins it in, and what a beauty! A 360 spin and a ridiculous Roche finish for the 2-0 lead. The Dane is dynamite. Second goal of the season for the junior, and UCLA takes a commanding 2-0 lead in the 63rd.
This is absolute teach tape from Oliver Roche on the finish. But first, it starts like so many Bruin goals starts with Shakir Nixon finding the right man. Great job by Nafe to get it in. And Roche just plants his foot firmly in the ground on top of the ball, spins around. Doesn't matter which foot he's going to have to strike it with. It's the left this time. It's in the bottom of the net this time. Picture perfect for the Bruins.
Viva La Roche. What a finish. Was inserted just for that reason. He had debuted at the international level on Denmark's U16 team. We hadn't heard about him much since. And now, in the second half, coming up clutch for, again, a Bruins offense that has struggled all year to produce goals. They've been knocking on the door all evening, and they've captured a 2-0 lead. Now, again, they don't want history to repeat itself. Penn State, somewhat familiar, as we've talked about and alluded to, against this UCLA team. Trailing 2-0 this time. They're playing at home.
But the way this Bruins offense is moving right now, it has a sense of so clinical in a way that they haven't been this season or in past recent seasons. Doesn't matter who they throw up there. Everyone wants a shot on goal. Just the way that they're taking advantage of their chances spells trouble, deep trouble for this Penn State squad.
And you can also see that the confidence is infectious
Absolutely.
right now amongst all those players.
Absolutely. They're rolling back and forth, finding out players on give and goes. All of these goals, all of these chances have started with the Bruins putting heaps of pressure on the Penn State back line. Roche is great at that, and he's just been waiting for his moment to get one in the back of the net.
Phillip Nafe and Shakir Nixon credited with assists, the third of the season for Phillip Nafe, and the second for Shakir Nixon, who's now started in 10 straight games for UCLA. And Phillip Nafe, we kind of gave the game ball perhaps to Schneider Mimi in that first half, but Phillip Nafe, they're not leading this match 2-0 without him.
Absolutely not, but I think the duality of it is why the Bruins are doing so good. Their first goal came down the left wing. Their second goal came down the right wing. Sometimes we see them favoring one side a bit too much, but when you're so dangerous on both flanks, what do you do as a defense? And Bruins got Penn State right where they want them right now.
The irony about UCLA's struggles this year, dead last in the conference in goals. You look at that, you think that that's concerning. They're top 2 in shot on goal percentage. So the thing is, the quality of looks that they've been getting have been really really prime quality looks. And so that's something you can build on if you're a staff, being able to communicate to your players, hey, listen, we're not finding the back of the net, but we're giving ourselves and setting ourselves up for elite chances, and that's what they've been doing.
It speaks so much to the way that the Bruins like to play. They've got a different energy, a different air of confidence about them right now.
The problem has been, can that translate on the road? And obviously, still a lot of tests looming on the schedule. They take on Michigan in Ann Arbor next week. Season finale on the road against Washington, currently atop the Big Ten standings. Who could have seen that? Washington firmly in front with 12 points. Their next home games against Rutgers. We'll be here for that matchup. All three of those teams are currently ahead of UCLA right now in the standings.
If UCLA is playing like this for the final couple weeks and heading into postseason play, it's a scary sight for the rest of the conference.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
That's a wonderful combination. Back to Aguilar with the left foot, clips it to the back post, and headed away for another UCLA corner. And they can feel this dam perhaps opening and breaking here with roughly 20 minutes to go in the second half.
And Adrian Aguilar has looked fantastic since subbing in. Had a few defenders completely gone, just bursted right past them with a beautiful shimmy shake to open up that cross.
Made headway, scoring the game winner in their exhibition game earlier this year against UC Riverside. Outswinger, Solans Ormo again. And looking for the brace. Evans was ready, stayed almighty on that possession. Keeping the Nittany Lions in it, down 2.
Never a bad thing to find the head of your striker on a corner kick. Just looked like Solans Ormo didn't have his balance quite right. He couldn't get full power on that header.
Already has 1 goal off a header in the first half. Not complacent is the sophomore. Now they're effectively breaking some lines with Phillip and Grabfelder. Dauda just outside of the box. Trying to widen the field a little bit, Henderson. Dauda, and there's Nixon right there with the timely intervention.
As soon as the Nittany Lions started to get some momentum going forward, boom, you see 10 Bruins all behind the ball. Only the striker in front of it, actually. Just loading up the box, not giving any space for a pass.
Acres of space for Marshall, and was a little hasty on the service. Again, this is a Penn State team that came into this contest winners of 3 straight games. And setting aside the fact that they only played 1 Big Ten opponent in that stretch, they were oozing with confidence coming into this matchup.
Absolutely, and the way the Bruins just completely took that confidence and took all of the energy to start this game, they haven't given it up really since then. Just have been playing their brand of soccer all day long, and defensively they have just been right in the lanes where Penn State would like to pass, right in front of where they would like to be going.
It's an area they've been trying to work on within the last couple of weeks, executing that final third, what Coach Cook calls finishing the action. Nice give and go. Solans Ormo, Phillip Naif, the back heel. Solans Ormo puts it on the ground. A worm burner, but it's held onto by Evans. And a wonderful combination from the right winger and the forward.
That was a highlight reel goal waiting to happen. It all starts with Aguilar taking the ball down lovely, but what a back heel. It looked like Naif had nowhere out of there, and Sergi must have been a bit surprised that he found his way out to the ball landing at his feet.
I think
Still did well
Phillip Naif, by the way, must have heard us talking about the creativity from Solans Ormo, saying, hey, I can think outside the box as well.
Nothing puts the perfect accent on a great goal like a back heel flick. That just gets me going.
But it's also the control. It's not simply doing it for the sake of trying to play a fancy pass.
It was the only option that Naif had to do to keep possession, keep the ball.
Mimi on the long diagonal. Boy, perfectly right off the head. Right over the head of Henderson. Was able to recover for Naif.
And one thing that's so commendable about Naif, you get the sense whenever the ball is coming towards him, he knows what he wants to do. So right there, as the ball was coming in, he knew he wanted a bigger touch to try and beat the defender with his speed. He couldn't do it that time, but knowing is half the battle.
Nixon digs that one out. 5 straight starts now for Philip Naif. Regular starter, 9 of the team's 11. He's been in the starting 11. And again, this lineup seems to be working today. Coach Jordan, again, very much lives in the present, coaches in the present. He likes to change up lineups if he feels like a change is necessary. But based on what we've seen so far, this could be the magic 11 that he's thrown out there, the best that they have looked here at home.
The starting 11 grabbed this game by the throat, and even with the subs, even changing up the front line in the midfield, the Bruins have not backed down. They've been in control of this game from the start.
Now, this is the point last year where we saw Grabfelder erupt for that long-distance shot. Bruins trying to avoid that deja vu here in 2025. So Penn State can hang their hats knowing that it's happened before. As Dauda on the swing, brought down by Levy. Dion getting to the strong left foot. Powerful shot on the ground, but Alan Legaspi slowed it down. And Kevin Box hasn't been tested too many times, but you also wonder if the back line and the entire team as a whole just plays with more confidence knowing that he's in front of there.
It feels like the defense, you know, they know that they've got a little bit less experience between the posts and they're taking a few extra steps. I'd like to see Box be more vocal.
Flooding 5 forward. Marty Carrena and Schneider Mimi, who's been fantastic as that left back, as we'll see Artem Vov come in for UCLA. 2 changes for Penn State. The starter, Ben Medor, and Van Danielson. That's 8 of the Nittany Lions' 24 goals between those 2 guys. So Coach Cook hoping to see some more offense in the final 15 minutes. Kai Phillips is done. Freddie Bell taken out. Just trying to change the dynamics here in the final third for Penn State. There's Mimi with some good penetration there, brought down by Aguilar, poked it forward. It's a roller, and sliding in is Evans.
Every time the Bruins have scored, there's been nothing that Evans could have done to stop it, but every time the ball bounces his way or there's a cross in the box, he's been up to par.
On the push is Henderson, just gave it away. Snuffed out perfectly. Karamanchi wasn't going to deceive him. Marty Carrena can't fling it forward. As that's a nice pass over to Medor. But again, 4 white kits, 2 blue for Penn State. Bruins packing that box. Not just because Kevin is in there.
Love that. Every time that Penn State has the ball, feels like there's twice as many Bruins right around them. They've been doing great off-ball movement on the defensive end to be right where the pass is going to go.
Danielson, Henderson battling. Henderson's able to come away with it. Dauda. Good switch over to Morgan Marshall. On the overlap, Medor. Can they create something? Marshall with a good touch. Mimi right there. It deflects off of the 5th-year man for UCLA, and a corner kick for Penn State. Third corner kick of the night for the Nittany Lions, currently 9th in the Big Ten standings, desperately in need of points. 6 regular season games to go for both sides, but after tonight, only 4 more for UCLA in the Big Ten, 5 for Penn State. So every single opportunity for them is crucial at this stage of the season. That's a dangerous in-swinger off the top bar. Boy, the lefty had great height and spin on it. Just a couple of inches away for Freddie Bell.
Rare opportunity there. It was clear that Henderson with that cross was trying to get as close to UCLA's keeper box just to try and cause some chaos, and they nearly did.
Boy, Freddie nearly rung Kevin Box's bell that time as Nixon is being looked at. Let's take one more look. Pardon, it's Henderson with the corner. Wow.
And it looks like Box did not get his hand on it. It went right off the crossbar and back out. Great service. You can't ask for better for Henderson, but no one able to rise up to that level and get their head on it.
Shakir Nixon trying to stretch out his right leg. Alan Legaspi helping him out. Hopefully it's just a little bit of a cramp. Nice temperature out tonight, 70 degrees, not too much humidity, but it certainly feels a lot hotter on the grass when you're field level.
That's how they like it here in Westwood.
Yeah.
This same temperature all year long. And to Nixon, I remember last season, it was a joy when he could come off the bench or when he would get a few minutes here and there. Maybe he would start the odd game. But he just really does not come off the pitch anymore. And if I was Coach Jordan, I would never take him off. He does so many things right. Everything that you want in a modern-day fullback. The amount of ground that he covers up the right wing. He's growing to a spot where he's irreplaceable in this UCLA squad.
He plays like a seasoned veteran. Second
Absolutely.
on the team in minutes. Is just reliable and dependable back there along the right back side.
And the fact that you can be so dependable defensively and still go forward and attack.
Nice vertical ball for Vovk. Bruins trying to extend their lead. Perfect pass, and it is going back. As Joe Sheridan went down so long on that potential third goal of the game for Solans Ormo. As Penn State survives a bullet right there with that call.
Oh, so Solans Ormo, it's a foul against him as he's running forward. There's no offsides there. It looks like he gave a little nudge to the Penn State defender, and he fell on the first hint of contact.
Beautiful setup from Danielson. Can't sizzle that one across. Schneider Mimi perfectly parked there.
And that was enough for Ricky Pooch. He saw his Spaniard get denied a goal. He's out of here. Love to see him in the building, though. And there's so many connections between the LA Galaxy and UCLA's soccer program with, of course, Kobe Jones being a great for both of those teams.
Absolutely. Well, you think about LAFC, for instance, and Frankie Amaya, part of that team. Solans Ormo taking on 2 defenders himself, cutting it in. He's got Vovk trailing the play. It just kicks it over. And I don't know if Solans Ormo was speaking in English when he got down on his knees praying to some altar above the goal. Probably screamed something in Spanish, but a perfect opportunity for a 3-0 lead, and they couldn't convert.
Simply put, he's got to pass that one. Artem Vovk has to be screaming for that ball. He has so much space on the right side. There's nobody over him. It's a fantastic run through, but look at all that space for 27. He needs to be screaming. Ormo needs to pick up his head and dish that. And by the time he finally gets to the ball, Artem Vovk just has a little too much heat on him, but that definitely should have been the third.
Lo siento from Solans Ormo to Artem Vovk. But again, just wonderful play and transition to even give themselves an opportunity when Penn State had it deep in their third. That's drifting to the near post, the back post, and headed out of play for a goal kick. Zach Mastrodimos is going to check in. He was wonderful in the first half. Sean Sent comes off the pitch. We haven't seen Francis Bonsu. Doesn't look like he's up. So for right now, doesn't appear that he will enter. Really a game changer with his speed. Still developing as a defender. Bruins certainly trying to hold on to this lead, if not expand it. 3 points, absolutely vital at this stage of the season, especially here at home.
And it's remarkable given how much Ryan Jordan asks from his wingbacks in Nixon and Mimi. The fact that they haven't needed subs speaks to the stamina that they've got. And as we've said a few times, the Bruins have players on the bench that can just turn the game upside down. Bonsu is certainly one of them. One of the fastest, if not the fastest, on the Bruins.
Nice long ball. Able to link up with Aguilar, who tracks it down. Liscombe in defense, trying to feed it to Vovk. A little heavy on the touch. All right, if you're Penn State right now, you've got about 8.5 to play. How do you approach trying to get back in it with limited time at your disposal?
You've got to start beating the man in front of you. You've got to start favoring yourself, getting past a few defenders. The only way that you're going to break through is with a moment of individual excellence to open up the pitch.
Well, there is a little bit of individual excellence. Danielson trying to get through it. A little bit of spillage and swings violently, but it was a free ball. Box is able to jump back on it. Legally play for Danielson. It was a live ball in the box. Boy, dangerous right there for UCLA.
Very, very scary for Box because it goes right through his hands. And the fact that you've got to dive on the ball when you know a boot is about to fly through your head. Massive props to Kevin Box making up for his mistake.
And that would have been a good example of a self-induced error for UCLA. Penn State just a little bit late on that spillage from Box. But that's the kind of heartbeat on the monitor that you want to see, just to get them a little bit in anxious spots defensively. And the problem is they're so good at dominating possession that they rarely give it away, but a couple of consecutive possessions now. Danielson trying to create some distance with Schneider. Lowering the shoulder and unable to keep it in play.
Great defense by the Bruins. Mimi and Trey Wright teaming up to once again bring that extra defender. And the Nittany Lions are burning down that line with so much pace, but they never stop and pick up their head to look for where the ball is going to go once you find that space. The Bruins trapping on defense has been so good tonight.
2 straight games with a goal, by the way, for Danielson. Dion cushions it down. Dauda doesn't see Vovk behind him. Finds an outlet, grab Felder. Back to Dauda. Trying to stretch out this Bruins box here. Chipped into the middle. Vovk with a half-hearted clear. Not fully convincing. Aguilar gives it some assurance. Morgan Marshall, those deliveries just not quite in and around the box to the level that they need to be. Dauda serves it back in. There's Danielson, and you're going to have to think outside the box. Kevin's got it inside.
It's a really clever cross from Dauda, but I don't think his attacker was waiting up for it. Danielson just is not able to generate enough pressure. It's an awkward spot where he's receiving that ball on his head, but good to get it towards the goal.
Mastrodimos sheds off Levy. Aguilar carrying it forward. That's wonderful hold-up play for the rest of the cavalry to arrive. Again, the Bruins don't have to play with urgency, but certainly feel like they can slot a couple more goals in.
And they do need to take their space going forward when it's available, and Ryan Jordan is instructing his team with that information, because if you're going forward but you don't have the numbers to support it, that's when you get caught out on a counterattack. So good to see the Bruins holding on to the ball, but also keeping it higher up the pitch as they have been all game long.
They talked about putting those final components together, and they've done that a lot more. You mentioned the word clinical. They've been a lot more clinical in the final third. And they've generated excellent looks. And they've made the deliveries just really easy for their forwards up top.
The service, not that time, but the service is over the top of the Nittany Lions defense. The weighted balls have been perfect today from the Bruins. That's where you're seeing the space for those wings.
Nittany Lions pushing numbers again, and that shot turned away, at least the cross for Medor. By the way, the armband for Liscombe had been ripped off his left arm. He just had to kind of Skechers it, Velcro back together there, as Ben Nash, the former Canadian national team call-up, re-enters for Penn State. Levy jogs off the pitch. Final 3 minutes and 45 seconds to play here in Westwood. A 2-0 lead for UCLA, looking to remain unbeaten in Big Ten play here at home and snap a 3-match losing streak on the season.
And now the Bruins have all 11 players on the defensive side. It was the striker, Sergi Solans Ormo, who headed that last throw-in out.
It's a different strategy that they've employed in this game. Typically, they're a high-pressing team. We didn't necessarily see it as much, but it's mainly because they didn't have to.
Absolutely. The way that, as we've said, they've been really strong in front of goal, taking advantage of their opportunities that they always create. It's let them play a much freer game, a much freer style than we've seen, but this has always been the game plan for UCLA. This is always what they want it to look like.
Penn State is going to send the kitchen sink here in the final few minutes. Trying to at least get one back, and you go from there. We've seen their abilities throughout the year to score quickly. They need it right here. Grabfelder with a nifty move. Karamanchi not fooled by it. Off of him, though, as we dip inside 2:30 to play. Nice give and go. Grabfelder on the ground. There's Alan Legaspi, able to knock it away.
Great
and
turn.
Solans Ormo on a 1v1. He's still upright, and Sheridan is down, and he's calling for some assistance. Tremendous spin to get away from him by Solans Ormo, but Joe Sheridan goes down, the talented freshman out of East Grinstead, England. Spent 13 years in England across the pond. Spent the last 5 years developing with Crystal Palace FC. They're 6th in the EPL right now. They've been
undefeated.
Really good so far this year. So a reputable academy. Good that he's back upright. Mimi with a burst, trying to motor into Marty Carrena. Now Aguilar outside the box. Trying to hold on to possession. Master Demos gives it away. There's Karamanchi sprinting to the rescue. But again, time is not on the side right now of Penn State. Just ticking away, approaching 90 seconds. Nittany Lions back at home for a 2-game stand. They'll have their whiteout against Northwestern next week, and then they host Washington in what could be a really feisty matchup. Meanwhile, for the Bruins, after tonight, they take on the state of Michigan for a 2-game road trip. On the road at number 13, Michigan, then Michigan State in East Lansing. Vovk chipping it forward. Solans Ormo inside a minute to play. We'll dribble it out in the corner. Just trying to eat more clock. And it's desperation time now for Penn State.
striker like Sergi, and I mean this in the nicest way possible, annoys you for all 90 minutes. Just such a pain for the defense to deal with, even when he's not right in front of the goal. Even when he's just time wasting, rolling the ball, he's always going to give you problems.
The Bruins have looked dominant from start to finish. Are just seconds away from their third win in conference play. And UCLA takes down Penn State in an end-to-end contest here at home, 2-0. Sergi, Solans, Ormo, and Oliver Roche sprinkle the finishing toppings on what was just a delightful game all around for UCLA.
The most complete performance we've seen from the Bruins this season. This is what it looks like when Ryan Jordan's men are rolling. So good offensively. You barely had to see them on the defensive end. Penn State, outside of that first few chances, really could not get things going. Complete all three phases. Fantastic performance for UCLA. And they have just been making the Wally a fortress.